Hi there, beautiful people. Today I'm faced with the Death card, and it's one of the stronger and more difficult major arcana lessons that come up in our lives. We can see a lot of death stories in the world today, and these stories of death come from a real habit that we have as human beings to hold on to very destructive beliefs. And sometimes life nudges us, it triggers us, it pushes us into transformation and change. And on a personal level, this is always going to be a bit challenging. It's always going to be a little bit full of potential despair, sadness, and grief and pain and fear. And facing all of these emotions is not easy. It's not simple, and it's never pleasant to embody fear or feel that grief and sadness inside of us, and feel the pain through either seeing the death of others or experiencing some death inside of ourselves. There's this constant feeling of losing something as well, and loss is a big one. And we're faced with coming to terms with all these stories, and there is maybe 100 different practices we can think about that can help us through these tough times. But in this picture, there is a picture of a priest here who represents, like a connection to a higher power inside of us, and whether we believe in religion or not, this isn't important. What is important is finding the faith and finding the connection to that source, godlike energy that we can trust is behind all of the workings of life inside of ourselves when things are desperately calling to die inside of our lives, when things are coming to an end. In order to surrender this greatly, in order to really relax and release into letting go that this card calls for, we really need to connect, first of all, to the trust and the faith in a higher power. And that's going to reflect in a feeling of purpose, in an understanding that there is hidden meaning behind all things, behind all actions, behind all reactions in the world. And even the atrocities that we see in the world that cause death quite blatantly, a lot of this comes into the light in order to show us as human beings what beliefs we are still holding on to that are so destructive, and allow us to believe that killing is good and that death is what we need to do, what we need to create more of. And in the bigger picture, death is the sister of birth, and they are not, while it is a seemingly tragic energy, it's also an energy which is so important in our lives. Without death, we'll multiply like crazy, and there would be no life without the decomposition of matter and and the death and the destruction of all things, there would be no life. So death in the higher sense is always going to have a positive counterpart and effect and result in positive growth. But when we're actually facing it, when we're seeing it face to face, and when we are experiencing that, strengthening our faith, strengthening our trust that we're connected to the divine, that we are here and able to let go of what life is calling us to let go of, so that we can hold something new, so that something new can be born inside of us, so that this sun, whether you see it as the sunset or the sunrise, whether we accept that sunset and we dive into the darkness, or whether we see it as a sunrise and we embrace the rising sun and the birth of the new day inside of us. This really depends on us having a certain amount of trust, and it's not really a trust in ourselves a lot of the time. It's a trust that there is a higher power which is governing all, which is ruling and sits behind all of life's experiences, however tragic and however crazy they may seem. And feeling the connection to that power can give us the faith and the hope to surrender when we need to let go of whatever it is what needs to be let go of, and then experience the darkness and then the rebirth. Have a fantastic day.